food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee all of our days. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Njoki Ndumu. So we shall go to the loyal toast by the so if you have a glass, please charge it. If not, put your hand over your heart. To His Excellency the Republic of Kenya, to the President.
To the President.
We shall move to the four-way test, which will be led by Regina, Rotaractor Regina Kanini. Regina?
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the four-way test, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much, Regina. Regina is a member of the Root Track Club of UN AFIA. They have been taking part in our meetings actively, and I'd like to appreciate the efforts that their president and the membership have put in participating in our activities, and we reciprocate the same to them. We shall move over to the announcement. I shall ask Service Projects Director Joel to give an announcement. So there's a project that we worked on at Friends Integrated School. Those of you who can remember, we equipped the library. The school reached out to us a few weeks ago, asking whether we could come up with a wash station, which is one of the guidelines that the government had asked them to have in place so as to open once that was agreed upon. They reached out to us last week. They need about 70,000, if I'm not wrong. This is a share between us and them, so they were to take up a portion of 20 and we were to take up the rest of the portion. So he shared the link on the main group, and the request is this being in line with what we look at in WASH and education, which are our focuses as a club, if we could participate and assist with that. I will ask him to reshare the link and let us know the status of each item. Thank you. For the Mombasa trip, I will ask immediate past President Njoki Mange to update us.
Hi, Mr. President, how are you?
Thank you.
I want to assume this about the Mombasa trip, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So our Mombasa trip is scheduled for, sorry, there's a bit of background noise, as you can, but the Mombasa trip is scheduled for November, between the day, it was supposed to be between the 6th and the 8th of November, but recent communications from our twin club, Rotary Club of Kampala Metropolitan, they are suggesting to have it sorry, it was supposed to be between the 5th and the 7th. They're suggesting we have it between the 6th and the 8th. It is to Mombasa. We will be putting up at the Voyager for those 2 nights, 3 days. Communication has already been circulated through our various WhatsApp groups and through a beautiful poster that Mucho has already come up with. But in light of the maybe proposed change of date, we will be issuing a new poster in the next couple of days. But as it stands, it is 19,000. It is 19,000 for 2 nights at the Voyager Resort on North Coast. 3 days, 2 nights, transport via SGR, but arrangements can be made through Liz if you want to book for flights. So we would like a 50% deposit by the end of the month, then the next cleared by the end of October, so that we can do some booking with it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, IPP. Our lead for hyping the event is David Biama. So if you see messages from David Biama, please don't ignore him. He's going to be our hype man for the event. So let's support him and let's register in plenty. Let's go to Mombasa and ease off some steam.
Mr. President, why should they ignore me? We are going, all of us, everybody here is going to Mombasa. This is going to be amazing. I mean, seriously. Yeah? Sorry to interject you, just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yes, and if you need a longer visa, we can arrange for that. Okay, so the next announcement is from Jennifer. Is Jennifer here? Jennifer.
Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody. You remember a while back we had, I think it was during Kanakezia, where we had a guest speaker called Teresa. She was a formerly an NIC, I think, employee. And then, okay, give me a second. Please go ahead. Just 1 second. Momo!
So that's the joys of parenting. So I'll just pick it up from where Jennifer left off. With this initiative from Clean Start, so Clean Start was founded by Teresa after she left, after her incident. Those who didn't hear it, we can reach out to her, and we can also read from their website. And the purpose of this organization was to support, women in prison. So they came up with this, dignity pack. And Jennifer, please go on.
Okay, yeah. So due to COVID, prisons have been closed. There's been no visiting. Okay, come. So there's been no movement in and out of prisons. So incarcerated women have not been able to get their basic necessities in prison. So they are raising money to buy, I think the poster actually explains what it is that they are buying for these women. It's just about bringing dignity back to the prisoners. They intend to visit Langata women, I think Machakos, Thika, I think Shimulatawa has a women's something, okay, Mombasa. So it's just a matter of bringing back dignity to the women. So they are asking us kindly if we could join them by each donating 1,000 shillings, 140. President Malaki had been kind enough to promise that, give me a second, to promise that the club would match shilling for shilling the total amount that has been donated by members. So thank you, President Malaki.
So thank you very much, Jennifer, for bringing this to us. And as promised, the leadership of the club agreed that all proceeds from this meeting, be it a happy dollar, sad dollar, would go towards this cause. And we also received commitment from friends of the club to donate 10,000 to this cause. So we're starting off at 10,000, and I hope that at the end of the meeting, from the ladies forum, you'd be able to, and what we have at the collections for the meeting, we'll be able to get to 20,000 in total. Okay, so we shall move to the person of the moment, the guest speaker. And for the I'll ask immediate past president Njoki Mangi to introduce our guest speaker for this evening.
Hello once more. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing President Daisy from Rotary Club of Nairobi South. Daisy Nyaga is a service delivery and operations specialist, currently serving as COO at Bridges Credit Africa Limited with 15 years experience in different capacities. She is a graduate of Kenyatta University where she obtained a BCom specializing in HR management and also holds a diploma in management of information systems from IMIS UK, Institute of Management Systems UK. She started a career at Kenya Airways, where she served for 7 years as a flight attendant. This was in fulfillment of her childhood dream to travel the world. Daisy Nyaga is also published author of the book titled Beyond 8 to 5, Critical Lessons by a Retrenchee. The book was inspired by her harrowing retrenchment experience from Kenya Airways back in 2012. She has since become very passionate about financial and money. She offers rich resources on that subject matter through the Beyond 8 to 5 free digital magazine, as well as through her YouTube channel. She holds group talks, corporate trainings, and one-on-one coaching sessions through which she challenges individuals to start and build their fallback plans in the event of sudden income or business loss. She's currently pursuing an international certificate in wealth and investment management from CISI UK, that's Chartered Institute for Securities and Investments UK, and she also serves in the board of LYP, League of Young Professionals, where she is the book club director charged with the responsibility of growing membership and member engagement for the monthly Readers and Leaders book club. She is an avid reader, loves dancing and traveling. She's a proud mother of 2 daughters, aged 14 and 9. Rotary Club of Madaraka and friends, kindly put your hands together for Daisy Nyaga. Karibu, Daisy.
All right, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, IPP Njoki. I truly appreciate. I also want to sincerely thank RC Madaraka for the invitation through President Sami Malaki. It is indeed a great honor and a privilege to be speaking to your club this evening. So if you allow me, I'll just get started off right away. All right, so coming up in a second. Are you able to see my screen? Is my screen visible on your end? Prezo?
Yes, we can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So once again, thank you for the introduction, and I'll just go straight into my short story, and then we get into the art of self-publishing, where I'll share with you what my experience has been and what possible lessons I could share with aspiring authors who I believe are on this call. So as has been mentioned, I worked with Kenya Airways for 7 years, and that was my first real job after campus, because prior to that, I had just worked for short engagements, with several banks. And now looking at this photo, for those who probably have traveled, I can tell you for sure this was a night flight. Looking at the shiny foreheads, it must have been a flight from Amsterdam, and all our passengers are deeply asleep, but we could still manage a smile. So the journey at Kenya Airways did not last for long, unfortunately or fortunately. And in 2012, I was part of the 600 plus staff of Kenya Airways that had to be retrenched. And of course, the company was restructuring, and they said they're repositioning themselves for the next phase of growth. And I found myself in that situation. And I want to speak to possibly somebody on the call who may be having a similar or related incident in their workplace or in their business. Because of COVID, I know many people have, are having their heads bowed in distress. Businesses are not bringing in much money as previously. Some of us have had to take pay cuts possibly, others have lost their jobs. I have been there, and this was the beginning. And this is the beginning of why I am seated here today. So as much as it was draining, it was depressing, it changed my life temporarily for the worst. But out of that very sudden and unexpected occurrence, then something good has come out of it. And as you can all see, I would not be seated here. I would not be sharing with you my journey if this occurrence never happened. So for somebody going through a challenging situation, it could be career-wise, it could be business, it could be relationships, it could be in any aspect of your life. I want you to know that something good will definitely come out of it, but you must choose to dig out the good. So 2012, I was retrenched. I cried. Of course, I did everything that retrenched people do. I downgraded my life, and drastically at that. But I went through that that journey as hard as it was. So from being retrenched in 2012, I always like sharing my 2013 experience, because I always say it was my very lowest, you know. I say I don't think I'll ever go below that point ever in my life. It was the bottomest of rock bottoms, if there's anything like that. And at this point, our court case was still ongoing because we filed an appeal against our employer. So none of us could access our dues. You have depleted the little savings that you had. Jobs are not coming up as quick as you would want. And also, having been in aviation, actually you are a bit limited and restricted in the kind of possible jobs that you could take up in Nairobi. At this point also, I just had to cash out one of my education policies with what was then Pan-Africa life insurance, just to keep the girls in school and to stay afloat and, you know, to keep surviving. So 2013 was my very, very lowest ever. But it was also a turning point, because I said, whatever doesn't kill you, the hardest of situations, that is where you draw your strength, that is where you realize what you're made of. So from 2014, I opted out of the court case. I mean, I couldn't hold out any longer. I've cashed out a policy, I've depleted my savings, I've sold my car. So 2014, I opted out of the court case, and I accessed whatever dues were availed to me. And I started rebuilding my life. So between 2014, 15, you know, I got some job in Nairobi where the pay was about a third of what I had been used to. You can see it was just a matter of now picking up the pieces, really. I was getting better, but I wasn't where I had been. But things started picking up. So the turning point writing a book came around in 2016. Using the savings, using the monies, the retrenchment dues that I got in 2014, I decided to get into some import business, and I imported some stuff from Hong Kong, and it did very well the whole of 2015. Business was booming. So I decided, or rather the little wisdom in me and the little I had learned about business, I decided that it was time to do, big. So I put together my business savings, which were my retrenchment dues and plowed back savings. And I ordered for a container of that same item. And now this was 2016. And that was the third quarter of 2016. But I forgot that we have what we call macroeconomic factors in economy. And our elections were just coming up in 2017. So there's a lot of dynamics change in the economy. So to cut the long story short, my goods arrived at the end of 2016, but cash flows were not as good as they had been the previous year, you know. And so I could not be able to clear all my goods at the port. So I ended up losing a very big portion, almost the whole container, you know. And at the same time, a lot of retrenchment started happening in the economy. I remember late 2016 is when media houses started retrenching. I remember Citizen was there, Nation, I mean, name it. East Africa Portland Cement, I think that's the year they sent home about 1,000 employees. So that took me back to my own retrenchment experience and now my business loss. And I asked myself, what lessons did I learn, or what lessons do I wish to share with people that are still holding on to their jobs, or people that still have some? So in 2016, at the tail end, after that very dramatic turn of events, at the loss of my business and all my savings and retrenchment dues, I decided that come 2017, I don't have any goods to sell. And because I will be forced to go back to employment, then I will write a book. I will write a very candid book and speak what is in my heart to people that still have jobs and people still have, you know, like running businesses, so that I'll share with them what I hoped I knew while I was still working and comfortable, you know, and in a comfort zone. So that takes me to 2017. I was forced to go back to employment in Westlands. Yeah, I was very depressed. Yes, I was back in employment, but I just couldn't get over how I had lost this whole amount of savings, which was my retrenchment dues, my plowed back savings. And to cut the long story short, as we get into how to go about the self-publishing, I used to live in Thika, but I would wake up so early and get to Westlands as early as 6:45. By 7, I am seated at Kipro Center. That is where our office was. And I'll just be scribbling this book. You know, I said I'll tell it as it is. I'll share a very candid lessons. And by December 20, I printed my first sample, which I still have with me. I mean, I just had to look through a bit of my archives. This was the very first sample that I printed. Ladies and gentlemen, when I went for Christmas, that December 2017, I went with 5 books, 5 samples. And I cannot tell you how fulfilling that was, because now when you go home for Christmas, I'm told that when you go to show the villagers your new car, you know, your new set of clothes. But for me, I was so proud of these 5 samples. And it just gave me now the, you know, the urge and the zeal and the excitement for the coming year 2018. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the journey that led me to self-publishing. And luckily, and I thank God, I was able to launch the book on March 9, 2018. And since then, just so you see the possibilities of what awaits you when you finally decide to self-launch, to self-publish your book, there have been speaking engagements, media appearances, and I've also been able to launch a few other products or services courtesy of the book. So there is my book, Beyond 8 to 5, Critical Lessons by Retrenchee, which is available both in hard copy and soft copy. And yeah, just to make you want to finish that book of yours, yeah, that was my launch cake. It was very tasty. I can still feel the taste, you know, it was a fruit cake. Eh? So I hope that just put you in the mood, you know, to write your book. Because I know many people say, I've always wanted to write this book and I intend to write this book. So from tonight, I hope nothing will stop you anymore. I hope I'll be able to share with you all that you need to know and all that you need to hear and all the encouragement and the inspiration so that Prezo Malaki, hopefully 6 months down the line from now, you can invite us all for book launches of members of RC Madaraka and friends of the club that are here. So when we talk of self-publishing, what exactly do we mean? Just so we're on the same page. So it's basically the publication of any media without involving an established publisher. So as we proceed, you'll be able to see, or why are we talking of self-publishing is a new way to go. Just to give you a story that will help us understand this next point that I'm about to share. Others who said that they subscribe to a particular and they never
Apologies, we lost President Daisy. So just as we wait for her, I've shared a link to Beyond 8 to 5 on the WhatsApp group. We can, look at it. Yeah, you're back. If you could, President Daisy, if you could unmute yourself.
Okay.
Awesome.
Apologies for that. So I believe that's where we were. Let me just put on my backup connection, just in case one fluctuates. Great. So as I was saying, what happens in traditional publishing is that you write a manuscript and you submit it to an established publisher. The publishing team will go through your manuscript and then they will, decide, will we publish this person or not? Now that feedback, for that feedback alone to come, it could take you as long as 6 months, even some 1 year. So it's quite a lengthy process. And that brings us to why should you self-publish, or what are the pros of self-publishing? Number one is that you do not need somebody's green light to be able to share out your message. Remember, when you're writing a book, you're sharing your thoughts and not on your depth and what you want to share with the world. So really, when you self-publish, no one is telling you, Apana, go and edit this. I would rather you put it like this. You don't have to be politically correct, or you don't have to box yourself into somebody's idea in order to share your message. So that is one advantage. So with most traditional publishers, they'll more often than not actually change your whole manuscript or huge chunks of your manuscript. So you could find the chapters have been rearranged, some have been scrapped off, or maybe you've been told to add more content, which was not your intention. So that is why there is now the push for self-publishing, because you don't need anybody's permission. You also enjoy shorter timelines. Like you've heard from my story, I made the decision to write this book towards the tail end of 2016. And the whole of 2017, I just kept writing and I wrote and I wrote. And by the end of that year, I had a sample in my hands. Now, traditional publishers can take as long as 1 year just to get back to you, or just to tell you, okay, we've gone through your manuscript, now change 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come back to us. So when you self-publish, you're able to get out your book much faster. Another pro for publishing yourself is that you control a bigger chunk of your book earnings. So when you self-publish, you're in total control of your book earnings. Unlike traditional publishing, whereby they will, once they decide to take you on board, most of them will normally give you, an upfront huge amount of payment, as now they work on fine-tuning your book. And then as soon as they've published and printed your copies, they will distribute them among their networks. But as soon as the sales start coming, then you get a smaller portion, about 10, most of them actually it's 10 to 12% of the book sales. Because remember, they need to recoup the initial capital that they put into editing and publishing and distributing your book. However, in self-publishing, the moment you have your book in and you go and sell 100 books, that is all your earnings. Nobody can claim a chunk. You only need to meet your costs. So that's another very attractive advantage why you need to self-publish. Another point is that you are able to form and build invaluable connections while marketing your book. So remember, in self-publishing, it is you, your idea, and your book, all right? And so as you aim to get your book out there, you'll definitely knock on doors. You will reach out to networks of your networks. And along the way, trust you me, you make amazing, amazing connections. And just 3 more points for why you need to self-publish is that you control your book objective. Like we've said, there's nobody trying to make your book fit into the economic objective. So if your book was meant to just make money, if you wrote your book to make money, trust you me, you will sell that book because that was the original idea, that was your objective. So you'll do whatever it takes to make that money without somebody telling you, no, don't do it like this, because of our brand, do it like this, you know? So you're really at liberty to manage your book objective without a traditional publisher changing anything. Very, very important for creatives is that you control your creative concept. Like I mentioned earlier, most traditional publishers will almost 100% of the time make you change, alter something about your idea. Either how you've written your grammar or the flow of the story, or even the characters, you know? So they really have the control. But when you self-publish, you say it as you want, you put your characters as you imagine them, and it's you being yourself. You know, you're not fitting into anybody's box of how your book or how the idea should be presented. And finally, when you self-publish, among many other reasons, is that you get to enjoy open future opportunities. And what do I mean by this? When you use a traditional publisher, more often than not, they buy your rights. They buy the book rights. And so they control what you can do with the idea in the book. But when you self-publish, it's really you deciding which way do I take my book. You can start an online course using that book as the base. You can have a speaking career. You can release audiobooks, again, based on the book. You can even offer an updated version of your book, all without getting anybody's consent, all without somebody tell you, okay, I think now you can release the audiobook, you know, because the rights are still with you. So ladies and gentlemen, those are some of the key advantages of self-publishing. And so this is just a table to just quickly summarize what we've discussed. You have control of your book, of your rights, you control your story, you control the cover, you enjoy 100% of royalties. When I sell to you my book at 500 bob, trust you me, I enjoy the whole 500 bob. But if I was to, you know, use a traditional publisher, possibly I'll just get 50 bob from that 500, because they will need to recoup some of the costs that they used in getting your book out. Now, it is not all rosy, and there are 4 key challenges when you self-publish, and this is what most independent authors, or who we call indie authors, are actually struggling with. Number 1, engaging professionals, especially at the very start. It is unfortunate that you may come across some authors, self-published authors, whose books are not too polished. You know what I mean? There are those who will just print their book and staple in the middle, you know. You could see some grammatical errors, maybe it's not formatted, maybe the font is not professional. One challenge most self-published authors have is they don't know who to look to engage these professionals, yeah? So you may find a few self-published books that are really not up to you know, the notch. Number 2 is sustained marketing efforts. Writing is one thing, taking your book out there in your readers' hands is another. So this is one area that a lot of authors are struggling with, and it needs a lot of support. I mean, you really can't do this very well on your own. You must always engage a professional marketer to help you market the book. Because also we have that challenge of you speaking about your book. You know, sometimes it feels like you're overselling, which is not the case. So that's another challenge of self-publishing. Very big also is limited book distribution network. So if you have your book published by a traditional publisher, trust you me, I can almost bet that your book will be in a lot of bookshops, you know. But for a self-published author, getting their book in those same bookshops will be not impossible, but it will take a lot of effort, because you must build a team that will contact these book owners individually and come up with maybe terms of them stocking your books. So one way that we are navigating this as independent authors, thankfully to technology, most of authors now have their individual websites where they distribute their books from. But this is one more challenge, because you realize not every reader really has gone tech. There are those who will still go into a bookshop and they'll look through the shelves and see what book has come. So if your book is not on the shelf of a bookshop, then you're likely to lose a sale. So that is the third challenge of self-publishing. And finally, upfront financial costs. As we've said, as a self-publisher, everything lies on you. So when you finish writing your manuscript, you have to engage an editor who will look through your book. You engage a formatting expert, and also the printer. So you have to pay all these for upfront. But had you used a traditional publisher, then all they do is they take the manuscript once they've approved it, they give you a small amount upfront, and they take care of everything else. So for you, you'll now just start enjoying the sale, the royalties from the sale once the book is out. So these are the 4 key challenges. Thankfully, due to technology, they are no longer major challenges, because if it's about engaging professionals, we have websites where we have freelancers, we have Fiverr where you can engage all these professionals. If it's marketing, you have e-commerce website you can engage and just boost your website. If it's a book distribution, again, that is taken care of by technology. And if it's upfront financial costs, we nowadays have what we call print on demand. Like I mentioned, I was able to print just 5 copies of my book, because when you engage a print on demand printer, they are able to print for you as few as 5 copies of a book to as many as hundreds of thousands, all at the same cost. So the cost of printing 1 copy is standard, regardless of the volumes. So these 4 challenges should not deter anybody from wanting to publish whatever book that it is you have or you intend to write. So again, this is just a quick summary of the process. In self-publishing, you write the book, and then you start the publishing process yourself. So that means you get an editor to edit your book, format it, and do the cover designs. And then you choose where to self-publish. Now, talking of where to self-publish, we have amazing platforms such as the Amazon Kindle Publishing. We have quite a number. If I can just mention them, then you can all go and look them out for yourself. I'll mention them in an upcoming slide. Once you decide where to self-publish, let's say Amazon, then you start marketing your book, or you self-publish and position your book in your website, and you start to market, all right? And marketing your book is very personal. You could decide to talk about your book in every small gathering that you're in church, in your family meetings, every small platform that you get. Just talk about your book briefly, and you start gathering your readers. So in comparison, as I have mentioned along the way, if you compare traditional publishing with self-publishing, the cons of traditional publishing is that it's very competitive. Very few people actually picked to be published, So most people will actually get rejection notes. And as famous people as J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter, we all know she was rejected by about 12 publishers. Today, I think she's the best-selling author in the world. You've heard of Tim Ferriss, the author of the book, The 4-Hour Week, was also rejected by about 26 publishers. Today, he sold over, I think, 3.1 copies. So it's very competitive. It's also a very lengthy process. You have less creative control, you enjoy lawyer royalties, and you may not get as much marketing support. So what platforms can you self-publish on? Amazon Kindle Publishing. Personally, that is where I have published my book. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are missing out on a lot of opportunities when you don't put yourself out there to compete on the global platform. The moment you have your manuscript edited and formatted and a cover, you only need to create an account in less than 5 minutes, you upload and set your pricing. It is that simple. So all these are platforms that you can consider. We also have a few book writing apps that could guide you, and again, I'll just possibly leave you to write them, and you can possibly visit them and see what exactly they all entail. So at this point, I want to ask, what's your story, Because when you talk of self-publishing, you may have had an interest to write a book, or you've always dreamt of writing a book or sharing something on the inside. So wherever you are, just make a quick note, and I want to ask you, what is it that you'd want to share with the world? All right? So just make a mental note of that or scribble it down. What is it that you'd like to share with the world or with readers out there? It could be in your professional line, some knowledge or skill that you have. It could be a personal experience, like my own experience. Now, just to make you, want to really be an author and start on that book tonight, there are many benefits of being an author. And let me tell you, when I began writing my book in 2017, through depression, I never thought any of this, I would ever enjoy any of these benefits. For me, I just wanted to share my story and candidly share the lessons that I wanted to tell people. Being an author gives you credibility in the marketplace. You stop just being XYZ. You start being perceived as an expert in a particular area or having specialty knowledge. I have seen from the participants, I've seen somebody who's a consultant for business. Imagine if you had just a small little book in one aspect of business. That alone will make you perceived as an expert in your subject matter, meaning you can command higher fees. And even if you're employed, and you've written a book on any subject, it gives you a competitive edge compared to everybody else in that workplace. You're able to attract ideal clients as an author. You get booked to speak. And of course, that comes with a remuneration, which is an extra source of income. All right. You attract publicity and media attention, which is what thousands of business owners and individuals are willing to pay so much for. But the moment you have a book in your hand, it becomes easier for you to work with media, because more often than not, they'll seek you out instead of the other way around. Another benefit is that you get to enjoy passive income and royalties. And just to encourage somebody here who has a dead book in their head, you've been writing for the last 5-6 years. There's nothing as fulfilling as being seated somewhere, then you're seeing some messages coming. Pesapal, 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 or PayPal, 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 you know, or M-Pesa, 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 because somebody somewhere has bought a book or two, all right? So passive income, this is monies that you could be enjoying on a day-to-day basis, maybe not in their bucket loads, but every single coin adds up at the end of the day. Finally, you are able to influence and help your readers. I can tell you from my book, I get so many messages of people who've read my book and they say, oh, thank you, Daisy. Your book has provoked me to start doing 1, 2, 3. It is so fulfilling. Just knowing that I had the courage to share candidly, and now somebody else's life has been transformed. So ask yourself, what are you denying from us? What kind of influence are you denying us? What kind of transformation are you denying your tribe? Your tribe is the people that will connect or resonate with your story or your idea or your subject matter. And finally, on benefits of being an author is unexpected future opportunities. You can't even tell what is likely to happen tomorrow, you know? When I wrote the book, I never thought that a year or two down the line, I would be so honored to speak in a Rotary Club, Nairobi, Madaraka. No, I didn't. You know, I've been invited for media interviews. It was never part of, you know, like the plan. For me, it was just like, share your story, let somebody else learn something or two. So unexpected future opportunities await you, ladies and gentlemen. When you write, you never know who will hold your book. You don't know which country they'll be in. You don't know what position they'll be in. You don't know what you'll trigger in that person. You could be the next TED Talk speaker, you know. You could get these national appointments because you never know who holds your book and what thoughts you will trigger. You could be watching your story on film. We have had stories and books that have been translated into film. You just know. So with that, I just want to challenge us to just do it, write it. For those who've begun, revisit. If you need to tear that old paper and begin afresh, please do. And what you need is really just a notebook and a pen. Despite all the apps available, for me, this is the most favorite, because the moment you put pen to paper, something is triggered in your brain and ideas just flow, you know? And even if you hit a mental block, you're able to come back and proceed in time. So ladies and gentlemen and Prezo, I think I will end there. I don't know if there's extra time for maybe a reaction, a question, but that is all I had for us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Daisy. It's quite inspiring. I've learned a lot about you. So just before we move to the Q&A, and I kindly request that when we move to the Q&A, one question per person, please. But before that, I would like to jump to the SAA part of the meeting. And I will ask our SAA for the day, Joel, to speak to us and let us know why we're doing what the purpose of the essay collection is for today, and yeah, and how we can, send our proceeds.
Thank you, Malaki, for that. Please allow me to share a
Okay. Muto, could you assist with joining that? Joel, please go ahead as we wait for Rotary and Muto.
Okay, so the okay.
Rotary and Muto?
Yes, sorry.
Could you allow Joel to be able to, you make him a co-host so that he can share his screen, please? Thank you. Director Joel, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you for today's chat. It was quite informative. So for SAA dollars and Sad Dollar and Happy Dollar, today we are fundraising for Clean Start, which is basically an organization that is helping women in prison regain their dignity through basic hygiene products. I'm sure most of us have wives or sisters and would identify with the need for them to be as hygienic as possible. So the pack contains pads, toothpaste, toothbrush, petroleum jelly, some rubber shoe, bar of soap, and some tissue paper. I was looking for a picture of possibly the people you will be helping. And if you have time, you can accompany the Clean Start to
Langata Prison, women's prison.
Langata Women's Prison. Thank you. For the gents, Aundi or Mama, those are the ladies we will be helping. So feel inspired to have touched a life. Malaki, the money will be sent to you or will be sent directly to Jen?
So the money will be sent to the account details on the screen.
Okay. As Malaki said, our partners have already given us a head start and contributed 10,000 to the fund. And as a club, we are going to match shilling for shilling. So we are hoping to take at least minimum of 20,000. So we have a shortfall of 10,000. So Happy Dollar, Sad Dollar. I shall start. I will give 3 happy dollars. One is for the guest speaker. That was quite insightful. Thank you for the journey. I'm sure most of us have gone through it or know somebody who's gone through a rough journey like that. My second happy dollar is to Liverpool winning the league. And the third happy dollar is for Liverpool beating Chelsea yesterday.
Say, can I give my happy dollar?
Yes.
All right. So I'll give one happy dollar. Last week, my baby brother was blessed with a newborn. His name is Nathan. Just turned 1 week old yesterday. So yeah, so it's a happy time for us and the family. So one happy dollar.
Yay. Mr. SA, I have 2 happy dollars.
Okay, thank you.
One because it's a Monday, and then the second one, yeah, because it's still a Monday.
Okay.
I have 2 happy dollars. One is to the guest speaker. She has said something that really resonated with me as a former retrenchy as well. It's a tough journey, but you have walked it so well, Daisy. So the one happy dollar to our speaker. The second happy dollar is just to the project. It's a good initiative.
SA,
Yes, Bioma.
I actually have 4 happy dollars and 1 sad dollar. Now, the 4 happy dollars are, first and foremost, it goes to the guest speaker. Daisy, that was amazing. I mean, that was so inspiring in terms of how, I mean, you just jumped into unknown waters and all that is, the talk has been quite amazing. And the next 2 happy dollars actually go to the project for the prison. Seems like it's something quite fantastic. That's my contribution to that. Then the other 4th happy dollar goes to Mombasa. That I'm just happy about that. I'm super excited and I just can't wait for that day to come. Then the sad dollar is actually to counter your happy dollar for Liverpool winning. Thank you.
Biama, I am syndicizing you. I'm syndicizing your Mombasa dollar with a dollar.
Fantastic stuff.
Does Liverpool win every day? Swali too.
Yes, it does.
Can I give my happy dollar?
Yes, you can.
I'll give 5 happy dollars. One for having attended my first Zoom meeting. The second one for the guest speaker, and the other 3 for supporting the initiative. Whatever we are doing. Thanks.
All right, SAA, I'd like to give my happy dollars.
Please go ahead.
5 happies from me. You've been such an amazing audience. And at this point, Prezo Sami, I look forward to doing a joint something with RC Nairobi South. Thank you.
Certainly, our AG happens to be Ale Kimboya, who is a member of your club. And she's a great leader, has been guiding us quite a lot.
Amazing.
SA, I'd like to give my happy dollars.
Go ahead.
First and foremost, it goes to the speaker for the inspiring talk. And second happy dollar is for today's fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you, SA. So happy. I have $3 happy dollars. The first one goes to our lovely speaker. My second one goes to the initiative. And yay, Mombasa.
Says the new bride.
The new bride wants majachumbi.
Okay.
Hiyo tunasindikiza basi.
I shall give my 5 happies on that note.
Yes, Austin, go ahead.
First, of course, to the guest speaker. Thank you for that. I mean, self-publishing, that is quite, I mean, it's not a mean feat. Congratulations. Secondly, to the initiative, I have seen what such initiatives have done before on a separate forum. Thirdly, to fellowshipping together every Monday, of course, it's a joy. It's quite an enjoyable moment. The other 2 happies za kuzindikisha Shalin and Mombasa akapata maji ya chumvi. Thank you so much.
SA?
Yes, go ahead.
I have 3 happies. One for the guest speaker. I know that road is not an easy road, but congratulations on everything you have achieved so far. My 2 other happies go to the project and a little airtime. Thank you, Madaraka. Whenever you come through, this is really a noble project. So kindly, if you, whatever it is that you have, kindly give so that we can give our fellow sisters some dignity. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This is a passion project for me, and I really do not take for granted your contribution. Thank you. Good night.
Wilson?
SA, thank you, SA. I have happy dollar to the guest speaker. Thank you so much for your talk. It's very inspiring. Sad dollar, shule zinafunguliwa na tulikula fees. So that's my sad dollar for today. Thank you so much.
Lydia?
Thank you, SA. I had 2 happy dollars, but I think I'll add 2 more. So the first one is to the speaker. That was very inspiring. Looking forward to reading the book. The second one is I had an amazing weekend, and I look forward to the Mombasa weekend as well. Then the other 2 for the project. So I've sent 2 already. I think I'll add the 2 now. Thank you.
Njoki?
Thanks, Joel. I have 2 happy dollars. No, 1 happy dollar and 1 sad dollar. Just to echo Wilson's sad dollar. Guy, sijui school fees itatoka wapi. I'm hoping that thing is going to be revoked until January. The happy dollar is for the guest speaker, Asante Sana, for that inspiring talk. Yeah, and for the project that we're doing as a club.
Any more? Liz?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the club admin, we would like to categorically state, and please, we would like to address the nation that in case hiyo pesa haijatosha, as a club admin committee, tungependa kujaza. Only come to us, Joel, when umebakisha tu balance. Thanks.
Sawa.
Thank you very much.
On Wilson, I mean Malaki, may I had 500 shillings that was meant for DSTV, ya police station, but watu wengine walitangulia, so hiyo pesa natuma kwa hii mchango.
Thank you, Rotary Joel. So may I give my happy dollars?
Yes, me.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Director Joel, for always sitting in for this. Really appreciate that. I have 5 happy dollars. The first one is to the guest speaker. This is very inspiring. I know her as a president. I get to see the conversations with the president's group, but I've learned a new side to her. It's been very, very inspiring. Thank you for that. The second one is to all the guests in attendance. I can see, presidents like President Martin from Rotary Club of Hurlingham, and also we have President as a guest speaker. I'd like to thank all the guests, Rotarians, Rotaractors, for being with us this evening. My third happy dollar goes towards the initiative. This is something, Jennifer is very, passionate about, and we reached out to the club. We were more than happy to support. The theme this year, one of the things is to encourage leadership from our members and leadership from those who support us and friends to the club. And Jennifer has been quite instrumental in this. So thank you, Jennifer. The fourth happy dollar is to Mombasa. Really looking forward. We really need to go to Mombasa. We're supposed to have our installation there, but finally we get our chance to go there even though it's not the installation. Please, everyone, let's participate. Let's go there. Let's go have some fun. Biama will be leading us. Let's support him. Let's not have more Ugandans there than ourselves. Final one is to attendance. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So we shall move to the next part, which is the Q&A. For the Q&A, I shall ask Charlene, Director Charlene, to start us off. So we'll take questions, 3 questions at a time, so the guest speaker can address them at once. Charlene? As we wait for Charlene, we shall move to Njokindumu.
Just a
okay.
quick
Please
question. I would like to ask the speaker, what is her view on I know what is trending currently. Also, people want to give their personal story, YouTube channels, and how different can that be from the routine writing? Some of us are not really very good at writing. Just a very quick comment on that.
Okay. Lydia?
Sorry, Malaki, what?
You have a question?
No, I hadn't raised my hand. That was for the essay.
Okay, that's fine. Liz?
Thank you, Mr. President. So to the guest speaker, Madame Prezo, I have 2 questions. The first one, in terms of ensuring that your book gets out there, how would you make sure that the book is included in terms of the curriculum? How would you do that? Maybe the book to be used in academic institutions, higher institutions of learning, and that kind of thing. How would you ensure that, considering the content that you've given us today, it seems reasonable, seems practical. So how would you ensure that? And then the second one, in terms of control, because you've mentioned that you have a digital magazine, or are they ebooks? How would you ensure that there are no issues to do with the piracy, so that you earn from each and every book that you sell out there. That is whether that is on the online platforms. And then in terms of the online platforms, how do you ensure that, do you have any metrics and KPIs that you've put in place for the digital sales? And then do you have an e-commerce platform to make sure that there is a checkout process and that you earn from each and every digital sale? Thank you.
President Daisy can answer those questions.
All right, so thank you very much. There's a question on a YouTube channel, whether I would advise somebody to share their story through YouTube channel vis-a-vis writing. What I can say is that they both complement each other. The whole idea initially of writing the book is to share out your message. And now YouTube has come on board. It also gives you the same platform, right? So I would actually highly recommend that if you're an author, also have a YouTube channel, or if not a channel, at least constantly be giving out content in form of video, because you cannot ignore video. It's one of the very new platforms through which we're able to get to our readers and even general consumers. So yes, they complement each other. If you can run a YouTube channel, because it will also help you to go in depth in things you may not have written, but are still in line with the subject matter of the book. So yes, they complement each other. I wouldn't say don't have a channel because you've written. And also, as you mentioned rightly, not everyone is, a real reader. So for those who can read, let them read the book. For those who prefer the video content, let them use the channel. So that would be my take on that. For Liz, there is a couple of questions. One on academic institutions. How would you ensure that maybe your book gets assimilated into the curricula? So what I can say is that when you're writing, and that is your objective, remember you have the objective at the very beginning, then it would need you to work with scholars and to work with people who are already in the, you see, like the Kenya Institute of Curricular Development. Seek out professionals there so that they can guide you as you write your book. For this book to be admitted into the curricula, these are the minimum standards, So now with their guidance, you'll be able to write content that will be acceptable at the very end. So that would be my take on that. At the very beginning, you have said that as your objective, you want your book in the academic, as an academic book and absorbed into the curricula. So work with experts that are assigned this role of selecting books for the curricula. In terms of taking out my book out there, yes, I do have an e-commerce platform. My website is www.beyond8to5.co.ke, where 8 and 5 is a digit. So the site is fully automated. It has all payment. So it will end-to-end experience. That is, you're able to view a sneak preview of the book, even the magazine. You're able to order, you're able to pay for the book and leave your delivery details. So that is end-to-end. And in terms of how do we keep off piracy? When you're managing your own sale of books, hard copies, it is much easier than possibly when it is in every other bookshop, because then you know who bought each and every copy. For the ebooks, however, I say there's still a big loophole, because if somebody buys an ebook and it's delivered to their email through a link, then you may not be sure what other games this person can play. So with ebooks, I wouldn't say we have 100% control, because there's technology nowadays. Yes, you're restricting it through sale through your site, but once the person receives it, then there's a loophole that they could reshare it or resell it. So for that, I wouldn't say we are in total control, and it's a big challenge. You talked of KPIs, digital sales. If I got you right, I'm not sure if I understood your question, but what I'd say is that as an author and you're looking to make income, have a plan, just like any other business, have a marketing plan. Who will do your marketing if it's not you? What targets have you set for them? So like in my case, I've engaged a dedicated social media marketer who manages all communications across all the platforms. So if you go to Facebook, Beyond 8 to 5, Instagram, Beyond 8 to 5, Twitter, Beyond 8 to 5, you will see a coordinated messaging across all platforms. So that is how personally I manage that. And I know several other authors are also going that direction, where you have a dedicated manager for your digital platforms to put across the message consistently and drive sales. So I hope I have answered you, Liz.
Great. So for the next question, I'll go to the chats. This is from Rotarian Sylvia Babu. And this, I'll just read it out. Hi, Daisy. I have a young author here with me. They want to know how one can work on being known before their book is published. How to have the existence known before being identified with the book. Thanks.
Okay, wow. I think this is a case of what came first, the egg or the chicken. Now, this is a young author. They don't know how one can work on being known before their book is published. This is my take. If you're in an industry that puts you in front of the readers, you know, talk of maybe you're in an industry like the media industry, then it is likely that you could exploit that opportunity and platform to have your name known for that, all right? But if you're in an everyday, you know, the kawaida, what I would call kawaida life, you know, you're behind, I mean, you're living a kawaida life, then that may be a challenge. You may actually need your book to start opening doors for your visibility. And what I always tell people is, let the book actually open doors for you. So long as you have good content, it will take time. It won't be like a quick explosion, but you will gradually build a good following, and people get to know about the book. They'll get to know more about you. And I think that's the sweeter way. I don't know. That's what I would tell them. So no pressure. If you're in related roles or a role that gives you a lot of free publicity, then work on that. I mean, exploit that. By the time you have your book, then you're already known. But if not, no pressure. Just get your book out and the book will actually take you before the masses. It will make them known. So Sylvia, I hope that will suffice.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so for the second last set of questions, I'll ask President Innocent from Road Track Club of UON Afia. Innocent, please.
Thank you, President Malaki. To President Daisy Nyaga, I enjoyed the talk and I had to make sure that I don't miss this because the path that you took is the path that I am pursuing. That said, I'm already marketing that I'll be releasing a book by the end of this year. Some of the things that you mentioned, I really agree with because I've also been doing my due diligence concerning the perks of self-publishing. So I have some questions for you related first to pricing. You mentioned Amazon. I know Amazon has a deal of for the writers such that if they price it above $10, the writer gets a royalty of I think 30%. If it's below $10, it's you get a 70% royalty. So I ask, how did you decide your pricing in this platform? And related to the online books, how did you get your ISBN, the 10-digit one or the 13-digit one? I don't know how to go about that. And the second thing is, how do you attract the numbers to your website? Since I know one way in which you can attract readership through Amazon is by making sure that your book appears in several genres. Say, you say that it's nonfiction, and then under that you got self-help again, fiction, so that it appears in so many categories. That's one of the ways in which you can increase your the appearance of your book. But besides that, in your website itself, how do you attract the numbers? And the third bit is, should your book scale to the point where it's demanded in different countries? You find that they might want it formatted in slightly different way. Say if you'd written it in the British English, and there's a great number of people from America who want the book, and their type of English is slightly different. So how do you plan to shift from their type of structure that you used to a different type? Are you planning to consider using publishers at that point, or you're still planning to stick to self-publishing? Thank you.
Great. Prezo, I could take those two first.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So the question on pricing on Amazon. When I went to Amazon, of course, I was very green. So I just logged in, created an account, and then you go to the payment details where, as you have rightly said, Innocent, they give you the terms. If you choose this price, then this is what you're likely to get. But being a first-time author, I opted to go for volumes, you know. I reasoned out, if my book is too pricey and I'm not known by anybody besides my villagers at that point, then I may never sell a book. So I opted to go for the lower end of the pricing. So that's purely how I made the judgment, because you know you really want to meet the first what is it called, threshold. For Amazon to pay you, the threshold was $100 by check then, but I know they've now upgraded to EFT, where EFT is not really restricted. So because I really wanted to hit the first threshold, then for me I opted for the lower pricing. So my book is currently at $2.99, and I'm still considering to go lower, so that now I look for the volumes. In terms of marketing on Amazon, Innocent, let me say I've not yet quite gotten a grip on it. Yeah, mostly I'll share links through my contacts across the world, and then they'll share among their networks. So I really haven't engaged the Amazon marketing platforms, which I know are very robust. So that is something I need to actually work on. I have focused more of my attention on getting hold of the local market and our regional market, which is Kenya and East Africa. And so to answer that, locally, what I've been doing, Innocent, number one, I have a fully e-commerce website. I have also engaged a dedicated digital marketer, so they manage all the platforms. So we do boosting of the book, any media interview that I do that is talking on the book, then I also boost that, because it piques the interest of our readers, and ultimately a majority will order the book, right? Then also, I may not have mentioned it, I occasionally do talks, you know, talks around the subject matter of my book, which is financial literacy, building fallback plans, how can you be a more valuable employee, how can you ensure that you're always ready. Even if you're sent out of a job or there are some changes, you're always ready to transition to the next phase. So during my talks or such engagements, of course, you also get the opportunity to sell the book and tell people to share within their networks. And that is very powerful. So you're an author, always it's a powerful marketing tool. ISBN is, for those who may not know, it's the international standard book number. You get the number locally from the Kenya National Library Services. Just go to their website. Just type Kenya National Library Service. They also have an online platform where you'll be able to apply, and they tell you what to send. So there's your manuscript and 2 copies of actually the final book. All right. Then they will assign you an ISBN, I think for 1,500 or thereabout. So Innocent, that's the place to check for your ISBN. And also don't forget to apply for a copyright through the Kenya Copyright Board. Just go to your Google Kekobo, Kecobo. Again, you'll get a very in-depth guide on how to copyright your work, which shall also be registered. So I hope that answers you. Okay, finally on the languages, Amazon has different platforms. You have the Amazon US, Amazon South America, Amazon Australia, Amazon India. You know, we have segmented their platforms. And what happens is you create an account and you decide which platform to upload your book or to publish your book. So currently I've published on the US Amazon platform. So should the need arise to go into other markets, then I'll first definitely consider the platform that Amazon is offering in that area. But if that's not available, then I may just have to look at maybe if a traditional publisher is available, or get networks who can help me self-publish in that book in that language. And but that's a good future thought to have, to hold. Thank you, Innocent. I hope I have answered all your queries.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So thank you very much. So we will share, we've shared the link to President Daisy's website. Please, and also the link to the Audible book in the chat box. We shall reshare them again. We encourage all people present to at least go and see the website and buy the book for themselves and for loved ones. It's quite important to know this, especially at this time. We have many people who have been retrenched and they went to the village and basically wasted their life away, as opposed to making, turning the lemon into lemonade. So now I'll ask Derek to give the vote of thanks. So Derek, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, friends and family and friends of Rotary. Good evening once again. We as RC Madaraka would like to really appreciate our guest speaker today. Daisy Nyaga, thank you so much for your time by taking us through your experience and journey as an employee, a retraining, an entrepreneur, all the way up to being a Kenyan author.